After a history-making day on Saturday, the FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship is ready to go again for race 2 of the Pirelli Emilia-Romagna round at Misano in Italy. An epic last-lap battle in race 1 saw the two warriors of Maria Herrera and Ana Carrasco go head-to-head, whilst new names also had their say, setting the scene for an awesome Sunday of World WCR action. Welcome to World WCR Race 2. It's Sunday and it is the first round about to be completed in the inaugural FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship. As you can see, weather very much the same as yesterday, but it is a little bit hotter, creeping up now towards 40 degrees track temperature. It is going to be 12 laps for the World WCR riders. Kiko Giles here, Steve English alongside me as ever. Steve, yesterday we had that delay, but when we did go racing in the afternoon, what a last lap it was.
Yeah, great last lap battle between Herrera and Carrasco, and it was one of those situations you could see just how much Maria wanted to win that race. She needed to win that race, and she was coming through hell or high water to make sure she was able to beat Ana Carrasco to the line, and even into the last corner we saw just a lot of commitment from Herrera. What was interesting though has been the fact that we've seen Sarah Sanchez go up there at the front, Beatrice Neal has been up there, Ponzianini up there as well, and you've got all that group able to battle with one another. I think that's the key thing at the front.
Of course, we did have a stoppage yesterday in the morning, and that was for an incident involving the number 29 of Mia Rushton. The Norwegian rider suffered a head injury with concussion and is currently receiving treatment at the Bufalini Trauma Centre in Cesena. The patient's condition is currently stable, and we send our best wishes to her loved ones and close friends. Of course, an incident in World WCR Race 1, not what we want to kick off this brand new championship. There was a second incident as well involving Jessica Howden. I can tell you that Jessica is in the paddock today. I saw her this morning. She's pretty much all right. She's not fit because she had concussion. She described it as a pretty big hangover, a huge headache for her, but she is here. And Steve, that's great to have her straight back here and not too serious at all.
Yeah, just a shame she misses out on racing today, but obviously for Howden, what we saw over the course of the weekend is a rider that should be fast all the way through the season. She was up there in the second row of the grid, battling in that lead group.
Elsewhere, Taylor Ralph also had a crash on the opening lap of the first race. That was yesterday, in the first start, I should say, yesterday. So she will be out on track. She has some ligament damage, but that's about it. So she's going to try and see if she can get around. But this is Ana Carrasco. She is going from that pole position courtesy of her setting the fastest lap in race 1. It's a new experience for her because it was Maria Herrera yesterday. It's Ana today.
Yeah, and you can see FIM President George Viegas down there on the grid as well, and it's a big deal for the FIM to have this opening round, and that's why Viegas is here as well, and he's been very warmly welcomed across all 4 classes here in the World SBK paddock, and a lot of interest in the WCR class for this week.
Second place on the grid, 26-year-old Sarah Sanchez. She was right in the mix yesterday, coming through for a podium. As you can see, just next to her, that was actually Ayrton Badavini, who's one of the kind of technical advisors within that 511 team. He's also kind of taken a managerial role, so good to see some of the past riders involved in the World WCR.
Yeah, we've seen Tosland here and Neil Hodgson and plenty of the World Superbike riders offering their advice to the riders on the grid.
This is third place for Roberta Ponziani, going from the front row at home. Will she be able to convert it though, Steve? She missed the podium yesterday.
Well, she's got the speed to be up there at the front all the way through this race. 12 laps. The big thing is to make sure that you're able to make a decent start, keep yourself in that lead group, and then see if you can go with them all the way through the race. In yesterday's initial staging of the race, we did see that it did start to stretch out a little bit, but in the restarted races, we saw that it was a bit of a closer battle in those leading positions as well. So she'll certainly feel that she's got a chance from that front row to grid start. 12
laps as well, Steve. That'll be all new for these riders because they didn't do a 12-lap stint yesterday. Let's talk about Maria Herrera, rather. What a last lap yesterday. Time to perfection. She just about held on. Ana Carrasco carrying so much more corner speed off that final corner, but in the end, couldn't challenge Maria for that victory at the line.
Well, for Herrera into that last corner, she was just ultra committed and she was making sure that she was going to come through to take that win. It was a really impressive performance by Maria.
Jessica Howden, as I said, is back in the paddock. She's on the grid there, so great to see the number 52 South African back on her feet. We wish her well and hopefully we'll see her at Donington Park. Of course, she probably would have been right in those front 2 rows. She has very good pace. Instead, in the middle of that second row, Beatrice Naylor. She's always smiling, one of the happiest riders on the grid. Beatrice, very, very close to that podium. Jonathan Ray actually went to speak to her after the race, gave her a little bit of insight. She just made a couple of mistakes. She won't be making those again.
Yeah, she missed out by half a second on the podium, but it was a 3-way scrap for that final step on the podium, and good effort by her in the race. To deal with all of the conditions and the challenges that we had yesterday was a real challenge for all of the riders out there. So if you were able to come away with that top 5 finish, at least it gives Naylor something to build on for this race. But watch out for her from the start. She was very quick off the line yesterday.
Roberta Ponziani, Sarah Sanchez and Ana Carrasco. That's your front row of the grid. Ana Carrasco going from pole for the first time. She'll be looking to convert it. She'll be looking to add her name to the winners list in this inaugural World WCR season. Carrasco, Sanchez, Ponziani, your front row. The front 3 rows, all according to the top 9 lap times of yesterday. Paquita Ruiz and Ran Yochai are big improvers. They move on to the 3rd row, 7th and 8th place. Kiko Giles and Steve English alongside me here for this race 2 of World WCR here at Misano. 12 laps ahead of us, Steve. Let's just talk about a couple of riders that aren't actually here. Mia Rushton had a big crash yesterday. Let's hope she's okay. Alicia Whitmore is out with an illness, and number 52 Jessica Howden, as we saw on the grid, she is on the grid and in the paddock, but is declared unfit for this. Steve, if this race does go the distance, which we of course hope it does, 12 laps, it'll be new territory for all of them.
Yeah, 12 laps for these riders to get through. The good thing is we've been able to have 3 starts now, so everyone knows the run down in towards turn 1, turn 2. It's a real pinch point, and it's one of those places where we've seen so many accidents and incidents over the years across all classes, whether it's Grand Prix classes, Superbike classes. So for the riders in the WCR field, they now need to know how to pick their way through there to avoid any issues. We saw obviously Jessica Houghton's crash yesterday on the exit at turn 2, but this is one of those places on the racetrack where everyone's trying to make up as much ground as possible, and with it being the first round of the championship as well, there's a lot of riders with different levels of experience as well, and what you typically see is at the front of the field it's that little bit easier, and as you get back into the mid-pack it can get a little bit fraught out there. But for the riders after yesterday, they'll be doing their best to make sure they're able to get through cleanly and then build into the race. Top 15 for point scoring positions, just like in the other World Championship classes, so that's the target for them. There's 23 riders on the grid.
Yesterday, of course, the day was very spread out for these riders. There was a lot of nerves and anxiousness, mainly just to go racing. It was the first ever race in the World Championship for some of these riders. It was the first ever race in the World Championship's history. But now we've got those kind of natural nerves out the way. We're into the season now, race 2, so they should be a little bit more relaxed for this one.
Well, this one should be a lot easier because yesterday the tension just kept building all the way through the day, and if your whole mindset is towards an 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock start like for yesterday or today, and then suddenly there's a 4 or 5 hour delay on it, it does create that just doubt in the back of your mind, and you've got that hanging over you. So for the riders now, at least they're on their normal schedule, and they'll be able just to go into this race knowing what to expect, and that step into the unknown is always tough to deal with.
We saw yesterday in the final sector through the fast right-handers that Ana Carrasco very, very fast coming through turn 11, turn 12, but turn 13 and 14 was Maria Herrera territory. Do we think it'll be a little bit more equal today? There'll be a bit more parity between the pair of them?
Well, Carrasco was fast because she was coming behind Herrera as well, and you're able to use that bit of a slipstream, and through the first of those right-handers it's about commitment through there and using the toe. So for Herrera, we saw in the last lap that she was just a rider that was going to refuse to lose that race, and that's why she came through like she did. What's going to be interesting is she started on pole yesterday, she made good starts, got the whole shot. She's on the second row of the grid on the number 6 machine, so keep an eye out for Maria Herrera from that. Beatriz Nela on the number 36 machine is alongside her. She made fast starts yesterday from the second row of the grid to get into those top 3 positions, needs to do the same again.
And keep an eye out, by the way, on the third row, Chun Mei Liu, very, very fast, came right the way through for 7th place yesterday, so watch out for the number 33 rider representing Chinese Taipei. The red flag moves then, World WCR, race 2, 12 laps ahead of us, the revs will rise, the red lights are on, now they go out, and we are racing. Good start from Maria Herrera from that second row, but it's not as good as Ana Carrasco, so Ana Carrasco should get down towards turn 1 first. Indeed she does. Maria Herrera sweeping around the outside of her though, she's carrying the corner speed, she's going to park it on the apex nearly, not quite this time, so it's Carrasco and Herrera. It's your top 2 from yesterday, but in reverse order.
Yeah, and Carrasco's been able to convert that pole position, but Herrera from the second row of the grid very strong off the line, and taking that line through turns 1 and 2 just to give herself the chance to attack. She's going to come through on Carrasco right from the get-go.
Good start. I think that is the number 46 of Paquita Ruiz, who's gone up inside the top 6 from that third row of the grid. So good start from the 46 there with the black crash helmet. She's got ahead of Isis Carreño, the Chilean rider. So down towards Quercha corner, it's Carrasco versus Herrera side by side, but that's just 2 different lines. Carrasco taking the sweeping line, and it's Maria Herrera going more for the apex.
Top 4's already broken away here as well, so for the riders behind them, Ponziani, she's got to try and find something to go with them. Herrera wide on the entry. The reason for that is she wants to square that corner off and give herself the exit.
This is where Maria Herrera was very strong yesterday, but when we came through Cavone, it was all about Ana Carrasco. It'll be very interesting to see whether Ana does put a little bit of distance into Maria this time around. That's if she's even leading, because Maria Herrera is already trying to look through, but Carrasco still so strong through Cavone. This is down through this fast stuff. The number 64, Sara Sanchez, coming up into 3rd place as well, so good start from her. This is where Maria Herrera made that pass for the win yesterday, taking stock on this opening lap, but we're through turn 14. So far, so good. It's your top 2 from yesterday. 3rd for Sanchez, 4th for Naylor, and in 5th place, Italian home hero Roberto Ponziani. Yeah,
and for the 96, she's been able to make sure that the top 4 don't get away from her. So Ponziani doing a good job there to be able to keep herself in contention.
Isis Carreño has retaken that 6th place ahead of Paquita Ruiz. Nonetheless, good start from Ruiz. Side by side, down towards turn 1. Carrasco just a bit later on the brakes than Maria Herrera. It was the 36 actually of Beatriz Naylor trying to come through on Sara Sanchez as well for 3rd. But as you can see, this group is pretty tight, and it looks like Maria Herrera is going to have a bit of a run on Carrasco. We're going to have a pass at turn 4. Not this time around, just taking stock and keeping it all neat in these opening laps.
Yeah, and Carrasco looks like she's holding up the rest of the riders in this group as well, because we're seeing the top 6 close up on one another. We'll see what the times are at the end of this lap, but Herrera, she's going to try and attack straight away into turn 8 here and come down the inside.
Turn 8, an overtaking hotspot, of course, at Mazzano. There's a myriad of lines you can take, and Maria Herrera, this time around at least, is on the one you want to be on. She comes through ahead of Ana Carrasco. So we saw this yesterday, Herrera making passes down towards turn 8, as well at turn 14, because Carrasco's so fast through those fast right-handers. And don't forget as well, they've got that bit of experience now, a bit of racecraft battling with one another, so this is beneficial to Sara Sanchez and Beatriz Naylor, who have latched on behind.
Yeah, and like I said, the 96 as well there of Ponziani, giving herself the chance to be in that leading group, and we'll see if Carreno is able to go with them as well. But group of 5 at the front right now, and that's what you want to see. You can see the number 36 there, Beatrice Naylor, trying to come through as well, and Sarah Sanchez.
Not quite that time. There wasn't quite enough room. This is down towards turn 14. Just confirmation on our monitor that there are no jump starts, so this is exactly what you see is what you get. Just behind this top 6, 2 seconds split in Carreño with Ruiz, and then it's Ran Yochai, Ornella Ongaro, and completing the top 10 is Chun Mei Liu. So that's your top 10 at the end of lap 2. Maria Herrera coming down now across the line. She's got about a quarter of a second advantage over Ana Carrasco. There's a little bit of daylight between them, not too much though, as they peel into turn 1. I tell you, it's Beatrice Naylor who looks the rider who's really trying to make progress here on Sarah Sanchez. She's right up behind her. Watch out for turn 4.
49.4 for the fastest lap last time around, so that's round about a second off of yesterday's fastest lap. Obviously, we'll see if they're able to build into that sort of speed, but that's why you've got that group at the front, because everyone's got a bit more potential than what they're showing right now.
It's about 3.5 tenths between Herrera and Carrasco, but that's pretty much nothing. I mean, Carrasco yesterday actually put in a couple of strong laps to get back on terms with Maria Herrera. So as it is now, this gap, I wouldn't worry too much, although Carrasco half a second slower than Maria Herrera last time around, so she won't want to be that every lap, that is for sure.
Yeah, but naturally slower because Herrera came through to take the race lead as well. So this is where we'll be able to see what the pace is like between them. But Maria Herrera, class actor rider with so much experience in World Championship level, where there's Moto 3, Super Sports 300, World Super Sport, Moto E now. She's racing at a very high level in the Grand Prix paddock in the Moto E class, and that means that she's able to come here with that confidence and the experience and the racecraft from it.
It's almost like a carbon copy of yesterday. Ana Carrasco coming back through on the inside of Herrera. That's at turn 12. Herrera will look to try and get back at turn 14. She had a look about it, but there's no point showing your hand too soon just yet. Yeah,
one big series with the Yamaha R7 here, so if you're able to get the drive out of turn 10, use that slipstream, you will get that advantage. But that's where Carrasco's bike has been working well all weekend. Herrera's bike seems to work well pretty much everywhere else, and that's why we've been able to see Herrera on the number 6 machine make moves into turn 14, into turn 8, and a couple of other places over the course of the weekend.
Let's see if she can do anything in towards turn 1 or 2. She carried a lot of corner speed there on those opening laps, but not this time around. Those 4 though, it is those 4 that's you know, it looks like where the podium's going to be. Beatrice Naylor's just set the fastest lap of the race as well, a 48.843. This is the battle for 7th place. Paquita Ruiz, the number 46, and the number 10 of Ran Yochai, just behind them, Ornella Ongaro and Chun Mei Liu. That's your top 10 at the moment. But at the front, it's 0.2 of a second between Carrasco and Herrera. Sanchez and Naylor there, all of them covered by just 0.6 of a second. So it is properly close at the very front of the field. As you can see, this is the battle for 7th, however. 46 versus the number 10. 3 abreast down into turn 8 for P1, and no change of position this time around, but a bit of rehearsal, Stephen, just also trying to make a little bit of space. Sarah Sanchez, though, looks like she's going to go through as Maria Herrera. No, Maria Herrera's corner speed there is so strong.
Herrera's just taking that wide line, but she's able to sweep back across and still not really leave the door open, and we'll see if that's still the case later on in the race, but that's what she was doing yesterday as well. So for Herrera, she's just trying to make sure the bike stays upright as long as possible in that braking zone, and then giving herself the chance to be able to exit well and then use that slipstream from Carrasco to hit the front once again. 4
abreast coming on the exit of Cavones. Herrera goes back into the lead, so Herrera ahead of Carrasco, Sanchez and Naylor, and then in 5th place Roberta Ponziani. She was out on the curbs there, but hopefully all okay. Ponziani just about 1.5 seconds adrift now of your leaders, so it is a battle between the top 4, unless Ponziani really puts the hammer down in the remaining 8 laps when they come across the line. But Herrera's got a little bit of a gap here over Carrasco, who's coming under attack from Sanchez.
Yeah, and Maria comes across the line, and a new personal best last time around from her as well. The gap between the top 4 and the 96 then of Ponziani, it's a little bit too big to make up. It's a 1.5 seconds right now, and in a one-make series like this, unless you battle with each other and cost a lot of time, that 1.5 seconds is very difficult to make up.
Let's see what we get on this lap. Sarah Sanchez in third place, though, Steve. Very, very calm at the moment. Unlike Carrasco and Herrera ahead of her, not looking to make too many moves in these opening stages.
Well, Maria's just trying to put herself to the front and pull the pin, and that's what she's done right now. She's opened up a little bit of a gap. We'll see if that comes back down with the slipstream, the run to turn 8, and more importantly, the run from turn 10 to turn 11.
Carrasco was half a second slower than Herrera last time around. We said a couple of laps before that she won't want to be half a second slower on too many occasions, and that is why, because Herrera out front just putting in 3.5 tenths of a gap between them at the moment.
Yeah, similar to the last time as well. It's about trying to see what the pace is like when they've got that clear track. You're not getting overtaken by one another, and we'll see if Herrera is able to just break away from the pack. But it is difficult to do that in a championship like this, a one-make series. Everyone's out there on equal machinery, all provided to them, and that's why you end up having it where the pack can stay together, and it's up to the rider to make that bit of a difference.
Sarah Sanchez there looking on the inside of Carrasco. Carrasco's gone back through on Herrera, so fantastic stuff. Again, Carrasco's bike is working an absolute treat through turns 12 and 13, and she's in position to defend into 14. So let's see if it's like that in 8 laps time, because yesterday we had a bit of contact and rubbing down there at the hairpin. This is through turn 15. Don't go out onto the green. Oh, so important not to run out. We haven't seen too much of that in its class, Steve. No one really taking liberties with track limits.
Well, you don't need to. It's not going to make you faster with the R7 package, and at the end of the day, whatever you see the riders do, that's because that's the fastest way to be around this racetrack.
Herrera back to the front as Carrasco sets the fastest lap, so they're swapping places, but they're doing it at a very fast rate of knots. Herrera a little bit wide. Let's see if Carrasco can get the switch back coming off this turn 3 down towards turn 4. It'll be a braking duel. Carrasco thinks about it but doesn't do it. In third place, Beatrice Naylor has taken it off Sarah Sanchez.
Yeah, Naylor came through in the second half of the last lap as well, and that run through the long right-handers, and she's had good speed in this race. That's why she's been able to keep the top 2 honest, and what's going to be good now is to see if Naylor's able to try and give herself the chance to move ahead of either Maria Herrera or Ana Carrasco. Carrasco's able to come through for the lead nice and easily, but Herrera answers straight back as well into the braking zone for turn 8.
Swap in places. Carrasco absolutely took Maria Herrera's line away from her there as well. I think actually put herself wide. They're side by side up towards Tremonto, the 22 versus the 6, and it is Carrasco again who holds on. So fantastic racing in the inaugural FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship event. We had race 1 yesterday. It was like this all the way for the final 5 laps, or the 5 laps actually in the afternoon when we got the race restarted. 3 abreast down towards Cavone. Who's it going to be? Sarah Sanchez on the inside. Did she push out Ana Carrasco there? It was very, very close indeed. It might have cost Carrasco a little bit of speed because Herrera just about holding on there. So down towards turn 14. It gets so close down into Cavone though.
Yeah, Cavone, you were able to use that slipstream and give yourself the opportunity to come down the inside into turn 11, the first of the fast right-handers, and then as the speed decreases, the opportunity to come through again is presented to itself, but it's also a place where it's pretty much one line through there as well. So if you're able to maintain your momentum, you can stay in front, but the entry to turn 11, that's the key place to be able to try and put your bike into the position to be able to make the moves.
Herrera has over 4 tenths ahead of Carrasco at the moment. Sarah Sanchez in third place. So that little bit of battling in that third and fourth sector has just opened up the gap between first and second a little bit. This is the battle for 7th, and as you can see, Ornella Ongaro has come through both Ran Yochai and Paquita Ruiz. So I wonder if Yochai and Ruiz have battled a little bit, and Ongaro's taken advantage of it.
Yeah, Ongaro with the red helmet, the number 28. She's got a lot of experience. 15 years ago, she was a wild card at the French 125 Grand Prix, and she's a race winner in the French 125 series, and lots of experience for her in the French Championship, and she's been able to put it to good use here. And I think that's one of the key things for riders that have that little bit of an edge. It tends to be from where they've raced in the past, the level they've been at, and then being able to make the best use of it as well whenever they're into a battle like this.
Ongaro, of course, battled with Marc Marquez as they came through the mini bikes together, so there's no doubt in the company of which you grew up around and their talent as well. Battle there, that's Yochai coming back through, the number 10 with the blue crash helmet. Her and Ongaro side by side up towards Tremonto. They swap places. Oh dear me, what's Ongaro hand gesturing at there?
She's clearly just thinking we're costing ourselves too much time and we could be closing up on the riders in front, but there's 4 seconds to make up with the second half of the race, so realistically everyone's just going to fight for themselves in that battle.
Herrera going for the inside on Carrasco at turn 14. We saw this yesterday. Is it a little bit closer this time around? it's half race distance, of course, coming to... Oh, Carrasco sides back through at turn 15. Gloves off already. We've got another half of the race to go, yeah?
Yeah, Carrasco and Herrera have been rivals for most of their careers, and they've made no secret about the fact that they don't like each other, and we saw that in yesterday's race with Maria Herrera, and we're starting to see that now already as we move in towards the final third of this race.
Oh, 2 in 1. Ooh, no, nothing at all in the end. Sarah Sanchez looking very close on the inside there towards the apex. Tried to get through on Herrera and Carrasco and didn't take either of them. Number 36, Beatrice Naylor, fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and faster than what we had yesterday as well, so a new lap record there from Naylor, and that's what's keeping that group nice and close together. But it's all about, in a 12-lap race, knowing that at the end of this lap, that's 2/3 race distance. If we have a red flag, full points awarded. So the riders now, that's why they're trying to move themselves to the front of that pack as well.
How good is it to see competitive racing, Steve, in this first event? I mean, it has been a lot of battling at the front, a lot of battles further down as Herrera looks to let the brakes off, but Carrasco's going to come across. It's good to see that the championship's starting so strongly.
Yeah, we've got 4 riders in this group at the front that are giving a really good battle, and that's what you want to see in a brand new class. And one make series like this, you know that everyone's going to have their racecraft come to the fore, and that's where you would expect Carrasco and Herrera, because of their experience, to be the riders right up there. But it's good to see that for Sanchez and Naylor, they've been able to show that they've got a lot about themselves as well.
Sanchez comes through to lead the race. Sanchez, she got through there on Maria Herrera, who had ironically just tapped her seat to say, follow me. Carrasco having a look back, not this time. So Sarah Sanchez is on a mission here and into the lead. Herrera is going to hold on to second. Oh, there's going to be contact. Oh, dear me. Turn 14 again, being a bit of a pinch point. Oh, that's a shame. Astrid Madrigal, the Mexican rider, the number 83, has crashed at turn 6. Let's hope she's all right. But Herrera, Carrasco and Sanchez have just swapped places 3 or 4 times in those final sectors.
Worth noting as well for Maria Herrera, she's back in the World SBK paddock, which means the red flag rules are at the last completed timing point as opposed to the last completed lap, but hitting the front there with 4 laps to go and just past 2/3 race distance.
Yep, 2/3 race distance completed. So if we do have a red flag, there will be no restart, and the order that they finish in will be the results that they are given. So this is a vital aspect of this race now. They're really going to try and put themselves in a key position. That might explain why Sarah Sanchez led for the first time last time around. Yeah,
that's why you're trying to hit the front, and again, just shows that a bit of awareness for what's happening out there. And now that we're into the final third of the race, we'll see if Herrera tries to pull the pin or if she has to wait. And obviously we haven't seen anyone really being able to use their pace to their advantage and break away from this group.
Sanchez back into second place ahead of Carrasco, but it's Herrera that leads them up the hill then. So this is Astrid Madrigal. Let's hope she's all right. She's walking away. What's happened here, turn 6?
Yeah, turn 6, the front's just going to go from underneath her, and pretty typical crash for through that corner. We've seen it in, especially Moto 3, we see some crashes through there, just trying to carry that extra speed onto the straight and able just to walk away from that. So no major issues there for Astrid.
She's battling with the number 14, Mallory Dobbs, who's just outside the points at the moment. Last points paying position going to Adela Juredničkova, the number 19 Czech rider. But at the front, Carrasco has gone back to 4th place now. So it's Herrera from Sanchez. Beatrice Naylor is about to have an Ana Carrasco attack, but not this time. So Carrasco back to 4th. And now this is a bit of a new position for her. She wasn't at the back of the group yesterday.
Yeah, she's been up there in the top 2 pretty much all the way through this weekend. So for Carrasco, she'll be able to see whether or not she has to hit the front right from the get-go, or if you try and just build yourself into the last 3 laps. And obviously, like I said, the red flag rules, they're always in the back of your mind. Carrasco's got a lot of experience from them from her Super Sport 300 career as well, and we'll see if she's able to try and make a bit of an impression now on this lap.
New lap record for Sarah Sanchez, a 1:48.320. That was absolutely just after Maria Herrera had set a 1:48.426. So as we anticipated yesterday, the more experience you get on the bike, the more kilometres, the more laps you do, the faster it's going to be. This is all a new territory as well. I mean, they're coming into the end of the race, but we've not had a 12-lap race yet. Yesterday was a 5-lap sprint in the end, so 12 laps today. It's something new for them. This is Carreño in 6th, but we really need to be looking up towards P1 and P2. Yeah,
we've still got 3/4 of a second between the top 4 as we come back to them now as well, and Carrasco's been able to make her move into the podium spots and get herself into P3 there ahead of Beatrice Naylor.
Carrasco back inside the podium positions then. As you say, Steve, Beatrice Naylor, she lost the podium positions on the last lap yesterday. She She won't want the same thing to happen again.
There's a little bit of a gap, though, between Sarah Sanchez and Ana Carrasco now, so 2.5 laps to go. The number 22 has to try and edge herself back up to P2 in the battle for the race lead. Otherwise, it might well be a case of Sanchez and Herrera trying to fight it out.
And Naylor was looking up the inside then of Ana Carrasco. That's Emily Bondi, the number 4, is coming in. She is already very injured indeed with a badly injured ankle, so let's hope it's nothing related to that. Ana Carrasco has bridged that gap just a little bit. We didn't see it, but at the point of where that bike seems to be working at its best, Carrasco just dropping Beatrice Naylor and edging towards Sarah Sanchez. Yeah,
we still have the top 4 all within a second and keeping each other very honest at this stage. 2 laps to go, and it's from this point on really that the riders' focus has definitely shifted towards being able to win their battles. And for Sarah Sanchez, she's only going to be focused on trying to win this race. The gap between herself and Ana Carrasco as they came across the line, half a second. So Carrasco still with plenty of work to do, and the biggest problem for her is Sarah Sanchez continues to set fastest laps of the race, so you're not going to be able to close that gap down. It's 0.6 of a second as they came across the line. And interestingly, Sanchez, the strongest rider in the final sector as well. That's where she was able to make that bit of a difference.
And also, just on Beatrice Naylor, 48.9 last time around, so she's going to have to grit her teeth and get on with it properly.
They've broken from Anna here at this stage, so Carrasco with a little bit too much work to do. We'll see if through turn 8 down into 9 and 10 if she's able to close down that margin, but they've pulled out another few tenths of a second.
Let's see if Carrasco can do anything between turns 11 and turns 14, where she's been so quick right the way through. Let's see if it's enough. She's got that bit of space to build into, which sometimes is what you need. You don't want to be right up behind the rider because there's not a lot you can do with it. Sanchez is trying to come through on Herrera there, but Herrera's line, it's just so smooth and she sweeps over. I think she was a little bit too wide for her own good there. Coming down towards Toronto, this is where slipstream is so vital. Let's see if the 64 of Sarah Sanchez, oh, look at 36 of Beatrice Naylor, is going to come through, and if she does, that has really hampered Ana Carrasco's charge to try and get back inside the top 2, the battle for that win, the first win of this championship for her at least. Maria Herrera holding on ahead of Sarah Sanchez, but Carrasco now surely too much work to do.
There's really good stuff from Beatrice Naylor. We've seen her set a series of fast laps during the course of this race, and now just giving herself that chance of the podium. It's going to be a last lap battle between herself and Carrasco. Maria Herrera has 1/3 of a second in hand over Sarah Sanchez, but we know that the slipstream is really important on the run down in towards turn 11. Sanchez made a move on Herrera there a few laps ago, so she's still in this fight, but Maria Herrera with a new fastest lap of the race, beaten then by this lady, Beatrice Naylor on the 36. Naylor's done a really good job to come through on Carrasco without costing herself time and still claw back 1/3 of a second on Sarah Sanchez as well, but a second back to Maria Herrera. You'd imagine for the race win it's probably a little bit too little too late, but Naylor's trying to make sure she's able to get that podium.
1:47.961, the fastest lap we've seen at Bazzano all weekend in the World WCR class. It is now 2 separate battles, the battle for victory between Herrera and Sanchez, and the battle for that final place on the podium that Beatrice Naylor lost on the last lap yesterday. As she lost it again, Carrasco's come through for the time being. Sanchez letting the brakes off, can't make it work at Quercia Corner.
Not the end of the world for Beatrice Naylor though on the number 36 machine, because she'll have the run down in towards turn 11 to try and use that slipstream to come through. Let's see if Herrera continues to take that wider line into turn 10. She does, and that might mean that Sanchez can also use that slipstream, so it's not one yet for Maria Herrera.
Slipstream City time. Sarah Sanchez, will she be able to mount an attack? Will she be able to make it stick? She's side by side with Herrera. She's come through at Cavone. What a move by Sarah Sanchez, the number 64. This is the battle for the win. Herrera's looking to come back, but Sanchez so strong.
Tight.
On the brakes, turn 14.
Tight line from the 64 Sanchez on the run into 14, and Herrera tries to run the outside.
Was it too defensive? Did she cost herself too much speed? They're side by side. It's going to be neck and neck to turn 15. Sanchez holds on. So Maria Herrera, she's got one last chance to try and make it work. Last corner, she's gone for it. Up the inside of the apex. Does she run wide? No, she doesn't. Now then, it's a drive to the line. We saw Carrasco strong against Herrera yesterday, but ran out of time, and the same happens to Sarah Sanchez. It's Herrera who does the double ahead of Sarah Sanchez in another last lap thriller in the FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship, and Carrasco denied Naylor again. Naylor misses out on the rostrum. Third for Ana Carrasco, Naylor fourth, Ponziani comes through in 5th place. But what about that for a final lap?
Yeah.
Across the line, this is Carreño completes the top 6.
Yeah, and for Herrera, we were able to see a rider that needed to make sure she was making that move into the last corner. Super stuff from her.
Ornella Ongaro absolutely overjoyed with 7th. She obviously didn't make it past turn 2 yesterday. She was involved in a crash with Taylor Ralph, who indeed will take points, actually. She's 12th. But Ornella Ongaro, her niece, we see her around the paddock. She's only a little. It'll be a very, very happily family affair down there in the box.
Yeah, it looks like on that last lap as well that Chun Mei Liu went down at turn 14, and that's put Mallory Dobbs up into the points. The American rider able to claim 15th in the last spot.
Oh, that is such a shame from Chun Mei Liu, the Chinese Taipei rider, turn 14. It is such a pinch point, Steve. Let's have a look what happened here.
Yeah, and
or was she helped back?
No, she wasn't. And she goes down trying to make sure that she's holding on to a decent points paying finish. And shame for her to end the weekend like this, but we'll be back in action for the WCR at Donington Park in a few weeks' time, and we'll see if that track helps a few of the riders as well as they gain a bit more experience with the packages underneath them.
Maria Herrera, though, doubling up. Fantastic ride from her, and she had to do it again in a last lap battle. That's 2 of them we've had there in World WCR, but what a race indeed it was. Fantastic stuff by this lady here, Sarah Sanchez, the number 64. Absolutely nothing that she could have done more. She'd done as much as she could on that last lap. She attacked, she defended, but in the end, Maria Herrera just making that pass at turn 16. That is not normally an overtaking opportunity, is it, Steve?
No, and it's one of those situations into that last corner. Again, Herrera's put her bike into the position where she's going to take that inside line, and at the end of the day, we always talk about top rack, putting the other rider in a position to avoid an issue, avoid a crash, and that's what we saw from Herrera as well. She was putting the onus on Sarah Sanchez. If you want to turn in on me, we're both going down here, and for Maria Herrera, she's been able to do exactly what she had to do there. She wanted to try and make the move earlier, but Sanchez went defensive into 14. You can't run around the outside of each other around turn 14 and still be able to carry the speed into 15. So Herrera was able to adapt her plan and give herself the chance to attack into the last corner. She won the race at the last corner as well yesterday by being really fast across the front of Ana Carrasco, and she did the same just down the inside this time. And you can see here for Herrera, she's thinking about this so much in advance about I'm just going to do this. I'm coming down the inside, and no matter what happens, it's going to be my apex, and that's the attitude you have to take if you want to give yourself the chance to win these races.
Cool. Did she just touch that green on the exit, maybe? Let's have a look. We haven't had results confirmed on our timing monitor, so wait and see. Now we're having them confirmed, so results confirmed and top 3. So Maria Herrera just timing it to perfection, using all the track that she's allowed to. But what a round of applause for Sarah Sanchez, thoroughly deserved. Maria Herrera, though, your race winner, double win at Misano. She's come in and really straight in at a high level. Spare a thought for Beatrice Naylor, though, missing out on the podium again, and this time by about just less than half a tenth.
Yeah, it's a shame for Naylor, but another strong performance from her in this race, and certainly what we've seen in the opening 2 races of the year, the opening round here at Misano, it does look like there's going to be 5 or 6 riders able to contend at the front, and the one make class means that everyone's able to keep themselves close to one another, try and find their lap times in different ways, use the slipstream where it's available, and then give yourself the chance to be able to make some moves.
Herrera, Sanchez, Carrasco, Naylor, Ponziani, Carreño, Ongaro, Yochai with 2 top 10 finishes. So very, very good stuff from the number 10. In 9th place, the number 46 of Paquita Ruiz, and Lucy Michelle benefiting there from the small fall for Chun Mei Liu on the last lap to complete that top 10. It'll be an interesting championship standings, of course. It's 50 points straight in for Maria Herrera, but she'll have a 9-point lead over both Carrasco and Sanchez. So it's tight at the top, and great to see so much battling. Ayrton Badavidi in there with the sunglasses on. He's team manager slash coordinator slash technical advisor down there for Sarah Sanchez's team. And I wonder how much difference that makes just to have that constant input all the time in that team. Yeah,
once you're able to call on any of that experience from people around you that's been in World Championship races and raced at a high level, it does help because they understand as well the different things that need to be organised to make sure that the weekend is as comfortable as possible.
Great to see Giovanni Kazari down there as well, team owner for the Clint Forward Factory Racing team. It is a local event for them. They are the home team here. I obviously can't do maths, by the way, because it's a 14-point deficit to both Carrasco and Sanchez, not 9, as I said. Good scenes down there in Parc Ferme. It's great to see this championship finally up and running. Ana Carrasco, third. She wouldn't have expected perhaps this much battling in this first event.
No, and that's what's good to see from Sanchez, Naila, and some of the other riders we've seen in that leading group as well, the likes of Ponziani and a few others. So we've got 5-6 riders that can all give themselves a chance. Obviously, we didn't see Jessica Howden today after her crash yesterday and being ruled out of action. We'll expect to see her back at Donington and to be up there closer to the front as well. And I think that's what's really promising for the next round.
What is going to be interesting at the next round is Donington, not traditionally a track that everyone knows, so the level again might just be reset in terms of where everyone's at and where the order is, because someone like Ana Carrasco and Maria Herrera, obviously the favourites going there, but maybe someone will spring a surprise because that track layout is very fast and flowing in the first sector, just lends itself.
I think we're going to get the chance now to hear from Ana Carrasco, third place here at the second race at Misano.
Anna, third position for you, so another podium. Tell us, how was Ritu for you?
Yeah, honestly, it was a difficult podium because I had a lot of problems with the front tire, a lot of chatter during the first race. So yeah, I tried my best. I thought that maybe I could fight for the victory, but at the end, Neila passed me 2 laps to go. So they make a gap, so it was impossible to close it in the last lap. But yeah, at the end, I'm happy with the podium because I think it's the best I could do today. I take the experience because we had this problem to solve, but we will try again in Donington Park.
For sure. Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.
Now we can talk about Donington Park, Steve. It's a track that Anna and Maria both know very well, but maybe someone will just jump into that lead group because it's a track that suits them.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly a track that is a bit of a specialised track as well, so anyone that has experience there can help. Speaking to quite a few of the riders in the championship, they've said that a lot of them want to get to Donington with their practice bikes because it's a complicated track. Portimao the same, and it's certainly an extra challenge for everyone to have to deal with.
Sara Sanchez, she was so close to that first win in World WCR, but she'll settle for second. It's still a personal best.
Sara, second position for you after an amazing race. Congratulations.
Yes, today was a hard race, 15 with Anna and Maria and Neila. So I'm very happy with this position and to be part of this championship. So now I keep improving for Donington. So I would like to say thanks to all my team and my family to be here today. And bye-bye.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always with a big smile on her face, Sara Sanchez can be happy with second, and she'll just have to wait to go one better until the British round. We will have Sara Sanchez, of course, in second place at Donington Park coming up. She will be going there trying to just see whether she's going to be able to make that difference. Of course, Maria Herrera won't have actually been to Donington Park for a little while because World Supersport 300 haven't been there. She went there with World Supersport, I think, in 2019. But it's been a little while, Steve, since Maria would have gone there. We'll get to that in a moment. This is your race winner, Maria Herrera. She's doubled up at Misano.
Maria, amazing last lap battle to achieve your second win here in Misano. What a weekend.
What a weekend. That girl are very, very strong. So I'm very happy to win the race because it was very difficult apart yesterday. So thank you to my team for support me and my family. And I hope to continue like that.
Enjoy the podium. Congratulations.
Thank you very much to all.
A perfect start for Maria Herrera then in World WCR. 50 points from a possible 50. This is that last lap battle.
Yeah, and Maria very right in saying there the level at the front is strong, and I think that was one of the things coming into this season. She didn't know what to expect, and she's been able to see that you're going to have to fight pretty hard to be able to claim some race wins in this, but double success to start the season, and goes with the form that I think everyone expected coming into this. Maria, your clear championship favourite coming into the season, and then it's a question of who's able to go with her and when they're able to beat her, and what happens on your bad days, really. And that's what's going to win a world championship or lose a world championship. It doesn't matter if it's in the superbike class or here in the WCR class.
Only difference to today versus yesterday was that she had to come through from the second row of the grid, but that was annulled straight away when she was inside the top two in the first sector on lap one.
Yeah, she made a great start in the starts yesterday from pole position, and then as well in this race as well. And one of the big things for her was she tried to move from fourth to first, and she was trying to make sure she could get through on Carrasco into turn 2, and I think that shows you the confidence that she has in not just herself but also the package underneath her.
Of course, the Pirelli Best Lap Awards applies in the FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship to Beatrice Naylor, because she did set that fastest lap of the race in race 2. Like Carrasco in race 1, they both have one Best Lap Award each. So we just wait for the podium ceremony here. It's another Spanish 1, 2, 3, but Spain producing so many fast women on track for such a long time. Maria Herrera and Ana Carrasco were the pioneers, let's say, but Sara Sanchez, perhaps the more unknown quantity, certainly asserting herself in a strong way.
Yeah, she's done a really good job this weekend to show that she's got the speed to be right at the front. Same with Beatrice Naylor. I think the expectation obviously was that Naylor was going to come in and be one of those front-running riders. Obviously, most of her experience on a 300 machine, but 4-time European champion, so she's been able to give her a good account of herself again this weekend, and certainly she's going to be on the podium through the season.
Great to see so many fans as well here for the podium show, the podium ceremony as well. Massive paddock here, full of fans at Misano. It always is the same when we come to Italy. The passion is just so strong, and you can see that there are 3 Spanish flags, but you would never guess it. Roberta Ponziani just missing out on that podium in the end, but she'll be looking to make gains as we go through the rest of the season. Steve, in terms of battling at the front, I think we can say it was a pretty successful opening 2 races.
Yeah, we've been able to see that the level's going to be very strong at the front of the field, and it's up to that second group to make steps as they gain their experience and close down that margin to not just the top 4 in this one, the likes of Howden and a couple of other riders as well that have been pretty fast through this weekend. So there's 5-6 riders that will expect to be at the front for much of this season, but as the experience grows for other riders, they'll make their progress as well and hopefully get into the mix.
Carrasco P3 trophy for her. That first win still eludes her. Second place, her personal best for Sara Sanchez, but doubling up and in a repeat performance of yesterday in a last lap battle, Maria Herrera. Fantastic there for your win in race 2. She is your championship leader, 50 points. We're going to have the Spanish national anthem very, very soon indeed. In fact, it's right now for Maria Herrera, your race 2 winner. I think it's time now for the Prosecco DOC to be absolutely ignited, and it is the last race for them at the weekend, so they can drench each other, but they've chosen to drench the fans instead, and they've got a load more races still to go on the agenda today. The fans, they'll have to dry out in the sun.
Congratulations.
Cheers all round, everyone fully respectful. Big cheers for all 3 of your podium finishers. Ana Carrasco in 3rd, Sara Sanchez in 2nd, Maria Herrera in the middle. Once again, like yesterday, the race winner. We'll have the photo opportunity before we go and check out the race results and your championship standings after 2 races of 12 have been completed.
Our 2nd World WCR podium, Ana Carrasco, Sara Sanchez, and Maria Herrera.
What a race that was, and these were the final results. Maria Herrera, Sara Sanchez, Ana Carrasco. Spain 1, 2, 3, 4. Beatrice Naylor just missing out by less than half a tenth in 5th place. Ponziani, Carreño, Ongaro, Yochai, Ruiz and Lucy Michelle completing the top 10. Plenty of nationalities represented right there, and just once again the second race in succession, I'll get there in a minute, the second race in succession that has the top 2 split by less than a tenth of a second. Further down, Lena Kemmer, Taylor Ralph, solid result for her, 12th, and she is injured. Nicole van Asverken as well getting solid points. Shumelu, Emily Bondi, Astrid Madrigal out of contention, 3 names that I'm sure will be looking to bounce back at Donington Park. Maria Herrera leads the way by 14 points over Sara Sanchez and Ana Carrasco. Beatrice Naylor, keep an eye on her, she's 26th back. Pontiani, Carreño, Yokai in 7th, Ruiz, Lucy Michelle, and Ornella Ongara with her first points on the board in race 2 completes the top 10. 19 point scorers so far, and you can be sure that that tally will grow at Donington Park in a few weeks' time. Maria Herrera is your double race winner from Misano. The FIM Women's Circuit Racing World Championship has ignited. Stay tuned, World Supersport 300 is up next with myself, Kika Giles and Steve English, but World WCR is back at Donington Park in 4 weeks, and we hope to see you then.